Hi everyone, welcome to my Shoreline Studio. I'm Sybille Muschik. Behind the camera is Joshua Blanc. And you'll find me on YouTube under Painterly03. So today we're going to be doing some work with cornstarch, and it's sort of like a flocking technique. When you're working with fabric, sometimes fabric has sort of a nubbly kind of texture. And we're going to try and emulate that with our gel plate printing today. And we're going to be sprinkling the cornstarch, and then we're going to be fixing it. And as a result, you get a really nice surface. And it's lovely for pastel, so we've been sort of leaning that way for a while. So let's have at it. We're going to start here looking at some of our work that we've done just with that technique. So a base layer and then the leaves, and you sprinkle the cornstarch, and then you lift the leaves up and then you print, and then that's how you get the nice images. So here's a couple of them. And it's and I've also added some iridescent. I don't know if you can see the iridescent copper in there. So there's a lot of things you can do, with this kind of technique. And then of course you can take ghost prints and you get a nice intaglio effect. And then when you're fixing it, don't get too crazy with the matte medium, because if you use too much, you end up losing all the intaglio effect. But it's really quite a neat effect, so that's something to remember and to document. As usual, I always recommend that as you do a process, that you document the process so that you can remember it for the next time. Or, of course, rewatch my videos. So we have in front of us our usual supplies, our Amsterdam paints, ultramarine blue, Prussian blue, some, what's this one, primary magenta, black, and this is unbleached titanium. This is Liquitex, some azo yellow, and I think I dropped one over the edge here. Yes, we'll be using probably the open medium just to make things, less quick to dry. Possibly some Liquitex iridescent bright gold, this is called. I also have it in copper and silver, but we'll only, be using one today. Matte medium as usual. I have some Galleria Winsor Newton white. And this is just plain cornstarch in a little salt shaker, so that you have, if you can see, some nice little spots. Okay. And it's kind of not in your face like pastel can be. It's fairly heavy. It sits on the surface, so you don't have to worry about wearing masks and things. But just don't, shake it around indiscriminately. So in our usual tools, some painting knives, and just a little palette for getting your paint on. And if you're wanting a lighter layer, like a transparent layer, then it's best to roll out your paint first, rather than doing it directly on the gel plate. I have registered my paper. This is just Staples. It's a high quality, acid-free, just a cardstock. And there you go. I do have my little tool here, registration tool, and I will be doing a video shortly on this. You can see the margin that it makes. So if you're using this, then you must use bigger paper than 8 by 10 would give you. So probably, really good with 5 by 7s. But anyway, we'll do that in a future video. So now let's start. So we're just going to start with a very base light layer. Let's just do it on here. And I want it fairly transparent. These tubes make the rudest noises. Okay, so then we'll just mix it on here with our brayer. And then I'm going to remove it because we're going to be flipping the paper back and forth. Okay. And I'm not over mixing. That creates mud. So I'm just going to roll it out. So it's sort of nice general fall colors. And be careful of fuzzles. Here. I have a garbage can. I'm not just flinging stuff around my room. Okay. And I have a rub-off sheet on the side here, just to get. So quickly, just put some leaves down. Make it a nice variety. Don't get too precious about this, just sort of whack them down there. Just the way the leaves would naturally fall in the autumn. Okay. Now we're going to put all this cornstarchy stuff on. And if it doesn't want to do what it's supposed to, you can just bang the top of it. So it's up to you how much or how little you put, right? Okay, we're going to leave the leaves on this time. Now, hopefully that's printed well. Yep. Now take all your, and you'll notice some of that cornstarch is on top of the leaves. So when you take the leaves off, you're going to have some of it left on the, and I'm taking the leaves off so we get the detail of the veins. And just rub lightly. Just a hint. So as you can see, a lot of that's on there. Now we don't have much detail on this one here, so let's put that back. And just yeah, better. Okay. Oh, there was one right there. Just a tiny bit more. Our paint was drying really fast because we did have it on the little tablet there. So as you can see, it gives a really nice effect. So, but you must do one more thing, and that is to fix with matte medium. And it's fine, of course, that the cornstarch, if it's too much in places, you can flick it off. And add some where you want. Okay. Now we're just going to roll some matte medium on top of that, and this fixes the cornstarch. Now you won't get that brightness. If you want to have it at this level, what you do is you document and just take a picture of it, because as soon as you put medium on, a lot of that will fade back. So if you like it at this level, just document it. And then, I mean, you can always work back into a photocopy of that, right? So, but you need to fix the cornstarch. Make plastic out of it. And it has its own beautiful effect anyway. Okay, here we go. Now, you have to be careful. Remember I showed you this one that, you know, if you get too carried away with the medium, this is what happens. You lose your details. So let's make sure that we have just a light coating and no fuzzles. So I've flipped over the first print onto the medium that's on the gel plate. And we're just going to make sure we're fixing all that cornstarch. And we get a fair amount of more detail of the print. So now we can remove it. Let's have a look at it. Okay, so some of this has not got medium on it. So what you can do is once it dries, flick it off with a brush. You can put another layer of medium on if you like, or leave as is. So it's looking pretty good. I don't know how, yeah, see, it fixed pretty good. So it has stayed white for us, which is lucky. This part is a little bit, well, we didn't print much there, so that's okay. You know, you can crop it right there. So that's a pretty good print. And I'm going to clean the plate. Josh will put an interlude on. Okay, so this time we're going to use some deli paper. I'll have that ready here. And you can use it to do ghost prints and things of that nature, which we hope that we'll be able to do that. So it's just there. Now, in this case, we're going to use a darker base. We'll start with some ultramarine. And this is the Prussian blue I told you about. Maybe a little bit of the primary magenta. So this will be sort of our forest floor with a darker shadowy tone. So this is quite a thick layer. So we're going to have lots of drama. And again, sprinkle because we want that flocking texture. Maybe not quite as much as last time. I mean, you could cover the entire surface and it would still get the color, right? But, okay, where's our most detail here? So let's put this in a different place. Maple leaf. Yeah. that's an oak leaf, and believe it or not, there are oak trees in Quesnel. It really puzzles. That's how much global warming has progressed, I guess. Because years ago, somebody was trying to grow oak trees in their yard, and it got all of this big. Now there's, you know, giant trees. So interesting, but scary. Okay, so now, because we have this nice dark background, we're going to just use the deli paper. And we're going to lift, because when we lift the leaves off the other way, it will be too dark and you won't see the details. With the deli paper, it pushes the details into the surface of the paint. And it will lift off quite a bit of that background. And hopefully I've got enough paint on there so that it leaves some behind. Okay. And we can, you know, do more things with that later on if we want. Now in this case, we remove the leaves. Now hopefully we have a nice impression. Now this may be more muted than the other. You're not going to get all that sharp detail or sharp features. But we can hope. Now I might just register this just in case we have something else we can do with it. Right. Okay, let's see if we can get a nice print out of this. And of course, if it doesn't work, you know the thing with gel plate printers, try and try again. Just put another layer on. All right. So we have a very interesting print, but not a lot of details. Quite a bit of paint there. So I think the ghost print is going to be very interesting. And of course, you know, you can work with this with pastel. And maybe I'll leave it there for now. Just take another sheet and we'll try for that ghost print. Okay. So this may be a situation where you have to put the medium down. So we're going to try this again, just maybe a little less paint. This is how you learn, right? A little bit too much, and maybe we'll just leave it. It's kind of interesting and very colorful. Okay, so we'll chalk that up to experience and possible other treatments. And we'll just be a little less crazy with the paint. Now I'm just going to leave that for now. I have a fair amount of paint on here still. And we might lighten up some areas. So it's a fine line. Sometimes you get it and sometimes you don't. I like the depth of color on those. And maybe a little bit less of the Prussian. And let's try it this time. Yes, I think it's a little bit better. Knocking things off my light table as usual. Oh well. So we'll find some more leaves that are dry. And look for the texture to see where it's the most texture. I think this is something else is stuck to it. Won't use that one. Yes, I've been collecting leaves like crazy. There's lots out there, of course, blowing around. Yeah. Let's put it here then. And we were expecting winter, you know, snow and ice and all the usual things we have at this time of year, and so far nothing. Just cold. It's been very cold. And who knows, you might be seeing this in the middle of summer. So back to our deli paper here, just to push it down and to clear some of the paint from the back. And to make sure that you get the impression of the veins. Now, of course, you can do this multiple times, you know, different layers of color, just the same process, maybe 2 or 3 times if you like. And then you get the shapes on top of the shapes. That could be very interesting. Okay. I think that's going to be better. Okay, here's our first impression with using deli paper. And then you take your leaves off. Oh, we lost a little bit of a leaf. Okay. There's more where those came from. Ah, yes. So I think what we'll do with this one is we're going to let that dry and then put a layer of color on so we don't lose anything. I'm afraid that some of it will not print at this stage when it's wet. It might be runny. So let's not take any chances, and you know, you have to make decisions as you go along. So we're going to take a break. We're going to let this dry. Then we'll put some matte medium and maybe even a little bit of the gold. And then we will finish that print. So with the magic of television, we'll see you in a sec. Okay, so one last thing before we go here. We'll add Josh suggests we put more cornstarch on. So that's a good suggestion, so we'll do it. This time for sure it won't be so white. It'll sort of blend into the background. So, nice placement and not too much. There. It'll do. Okay, waiting. So I've rescued my previous early colors there. I've added some matte medium. We just need a fairly opaque paint to pick up everything that's underneath there. We're just going to add a little bit of color. And this is where I might just add the gold. So let's put a little bit of that in there. All right, so you make sure you tighten this or you might have problems. One more turn. Okay, and that gives you this little nozzle thing, which is nice. And be sure to wipe that and then put it back on. And let's just mix that in there. Okay. So this does two things. It will help lift that base layer, that hopefully intaglio, saying it right for a change, I guess. And will also secure the cornstarch. And don't need to register this because it's just one layer. Oops, a bit up here. Now that first layer has dried, so it's just like a little layer of plastic on top of the gel plate. So it might be stubborn to get off. So remember our medium trick, where you just put more medium down, let it wait a little bit, and then it should pick everything up. And yeah, you can see right there. We'll take most of it off and then you'll see some of the detail. But you can see it's going to need the medium. Okay. Not a problem. When you have it not taped down, although we could do it, I guess, but then just take it off a little bit by little bit. And then put the medium down. And that will help release that bottom layer. It's just being stubborn as usual. Also a good idea when you're cleaning your plate to use your mineral oil because it conditions your plate again. Now this side's coming up a bit better, but it still needs some medium. Okay. So let's put it on there. It will come up. Just don't leave it too long or the layer dries on your plate and then your paper will tear. So that's not good either. I'm just not lifting too much off because you want it to stay registered. So then again, it's a waiting game. If you don't have matte medium, you could use a little bit of the open thinner or some retarder with maybe white paint, and that will get that layer off as well. So while we're waiting for that other layer to print, then I've brought out my other 8x10 gel plate, and we're going to do this slightly differently again. You really have to try this flocking idea. You know, the texture is so interesting once you get the piece, and I can't, if you've had some flocking material, then maybe you know what I'm talking about. Of course, that doesn't translate well to video. You can see the result, but the surface to touch is quite marvelous. So we're going to put the cornstarch on here first. And now I've put a little bit of open medium on here so it doesn't go too fast for drying, because this is a slightly different way of doing it. So we've got all our flocking down. We're going to print this. I'm going to register it. So I have my leaves ready to put on. So now we have all this flocking stuff happening. And I think I might clean the page because we're going to go to a totally different color. So again, our mineral oil works great. Takes it right off and prepares the plate again. Okay. Now then, we're going to put maybe darker colors on. Just some interesting stuff here and there. A little bit of the Prussian blue. And a little bit of the yellow. And if we're lucky, we'll get some green happening in that next layer. Okay. So when we put the leaves on this time, they will not print the dark colors, of course. They will be this nice bright orange. That is sort of the way it's supposed to go. I'll take quite a bit of this off. You almost get leaf impressions just from the way the color's gone on there. All right, now we place the leaves again. Just random as far as you can. I kind of like this little guy here. Try not to have the leaves facing out too much. Yeah, if they are, make it small. Now here's where we do more flocking. But do it around the outside edge of the leaves. To sort of give them an outline. Now whatever goes on the leaves is just going to dust off because that layer is probably pretty dry already. Let's see if we can get a little bit of an outline here. A leaf outline. I guess we're running out of cornstarch here. This could be very interesting. Leaves in a snowstorm. All right. Now then. Try not to get a halo here. We're just going to print with the leaves on. Okay, leaves on. And printing. Wow, look at that. Now if we want a little bit of the detail of the leaf, we can do it at this stage. Just take your leaves off again. And this is where you do it very lightly or it'll be too dark, just like the background. But you will get some, and just almost an outline of the leaves, right? So, okay. In the cornstarch. Just ever so gentle. You can take a peek, see if you've got it all. Ooh. Oh yes. Oh, that's gorgeous. I love it when it works out. And of course, as usual, we'll be posting the images at the end of the session. Well, so we have the leaves, we have almost like the snowy effect, we have lots of detail, and we have nice dark background. As I said, what a relief. So anyway, give this a try. It's so much fun and certainly exciting. And at the end, we'll show the print that we're just drying still. So as usual, another fun session. Thanks for joining me. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share so that lots of other people can get the benefit of these tutorials and that we can make more of them. And, be kind to yourself. Be kind to everybody else, and take care. Bye for now. You have to take this off before you use a little nozzle. And fight with it for a bit. Typical. Oh my goodness. All right. I got gold fingers now. There you go. There's a song about that.